Last August, I took a shower in my backyard with water that had been heated entirely by sunlight, in a hose that cost me $12.40 at the hardware store. The water came out at 127 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hotter than most people set their indoor water heaters. There was no electricity involved, no gas, no tank, no utility bill. Just 100 feet of black plastic hose laid out on my back patio for about 4 hours in the afternoon sun. I have been using that same hose every summer for 3 years to wash garden tools, rinse off after yard work, fill the dog's outdoor bath, and take the occasional outdoor shower when I have been digging in the dirt all day and do not want to track mud through the house. In a typical summer, that hose has saved me roughly $40 in electric water heater costs. Not a huge number on its own, but multiply it by every backyard, every garden, every RV, every cabin, every outdoor shower in America, and you start to see why the water heater industry would prefer you never learn this trick. In the next 18 minutes, you are going to learn 3 things. First, the exact hose to buy and the simple setup that turns sunlight into hot water for free. Second, the honest limits of this method, because I am not going to tell you it will replace your indoor water heater in January. It will not. And third, the story of how solar water heating was the standard in American homes through the 1940s, and how the gas industry deliberately erased it from the conversation. Stay until the end because there are 5 mistakes that will leave you with cold water or worse. And the third one is a health hazard most people have never heard of that can actually make you sick. It is the middle of July. Your electric bill arrived this morning. $280. You stare at it for a minute and try to figure out what changed. The air conditioner has been running, sure, but the bill last July was $210. The bill the July before that was $180. Every year it climbs. You call the utility company. The friendly voice tells you that energy costs have increased and you should consider upgrading to a more efficient water heater. A new tankless system, professionally installed, will cost you between $3,000 and $6,000. You hang up. You think about how much hot water your household actually uses in summer, the dishes, the showers, the washing machine, and how much of that hot water is being heated by an electric tank running 24 hours a day in a basement, even when the sun is blazing outside and the temperature on your back patio is 95 degrees in the shade. That sun, hitting your patio right now, is delivering enough thermal energy in 1 hour to heat all the water your family will use today, for free. With no equipment beyond a hose you could buy at any hardware store in 20 minutes. And the entire reason you have never set this up is because the plumbing and water heater industries have spent 70 years training you to think that hot water requires a tank, a burner, a thermostat, and a monthly bill. They made you believe that getting hot water from the sun is exotic, complicated, expensive, requires roof panels and a contractor and permits. None of that is true for what I am about to show you. The exotic systems exist, they work great, and they cost thousands of dollars. But the basic principle behind them is so simple that you can replicate 80% of the benefit with $12 and an afternoon. But we are just getting started. The real story is still coming. In the early 1900s, solar water heating was a normal feature in American homes across the southern United States. By 1920, an estimated 30,000 homes in Southern California had rooftop solar water heaters. They were standard equipment. Real estate listings advertised them. In Miami and Tampa, the percentage was even higher. Through the 1930s and into the 1940s, solar water heating remained the default in any region with reliable sunshine because it was cheaper than gas, simpler to maintain, and required no fuel deliveries. The science was straightforward. Black-painted copper or steel pipes, sometimes housed inside a glass-covered box for insulation, were mounted on a south-facing roof. Cold water from the house plumbing entered at one end. Heated water exited at the other end and flowed into an insulated storage tank. The whole system ran on natural convection. No pumps, no electricity. The same physics that makes a black hose hot in the sun was being used at scale to provide hot water to millions of people. Hold on, because what happened next changes everything. In 1947, the natural gas industry began an aggressive marketing and lobbying campaign in the southern United States. Their goal was to replace solar water heaters with gas-fired tank heaters in every home where gas service was being installed. The argument was that solar was old-fashioned and gas was modern. Special financing deals were arranged with new home builders. Building codes were quietly updated to make it easier to install gas hookups and harder to retrofit solar systems. Real estate listings stopped mentioning solar water heaters as a feature, and within a decade, most existing systems were removed and scrapped during home renovations. By 1960, an entire generation of new homeowners in California, Florida, and Arizona had no idea that their parents and grandparents had heated water with sunlight as a normal everyday practice. The systems disappeared. The expertise disappeared. The cultural memory disappeared. And the gas and electric utility companies established the recurring monthly billing model that has never gone away. That is documented industrial history. You can find photographs of 1920s Los Angeles neighborhoods with solar water heaters on every roof. You can read the trade publications from the 1940s debating whether to allow gas to displace solar. The technology did not fail. The marketing won. So let me show you exactly how to set this up in your backyard, so the water heater industry has one less customer paying full price for hot water that the sun is already providing. The hose you need is a standard black polyethylene irrigation hose, not a garden hose, not a soaker hose, not a clear or green vinyl hose. A solid black polyethylene hose, the kind used for low-pressure irrigation systems and drip lines. You will find it at any hardware store, any home improvement center, and any agricultural supply store. A 100-foot coil costs between $10 and $15. That is roughly 10 cents to 15 cents per foot, well under the dollar a foot the title mentions for any length you would actually need. Make sure it is rated for potable water if you are going to drink from it or use it for showers. Most polyethylene irrigation hose is fine for non-potable uses like washing tools and rinsing the garden. Step 1. Lay the hose out in direct sunlight on a flat surface that will absorb and hold heat. A concrete patio works best. A wooden deck works second best. Bare ground works, but cools the hose from underneath, reducing efficiency. Coil the hose in a flat spiral so the entire length is exposed to the sun without any sections shaded by other sections. A 100-foot coil makes a spiral about 4 to 5 feet across when laid flat. Step 2. Connect one end of the hose to your outdoor faucet or to a rain barrel if you have one. The other end of the hose is your output. You can put a simple shut-off valve on the output end if you want to control the flow, or a spray nozzle if you want to use it like a shower head. I made a mistake the first time I set this up. I coiled the hose on my lawn, in the grass, because that was the only flat spot I had. I left it for 4 hours on a hot July afternoon and came back expecting hot water. The output was lukewarm, maybe 90 degrees. I was disappointed. Then I read about thermal mass and realized the grass was wicking heat away from the bottom of the coil. The next day, I moved the same hose onto my concrete patio. Same sun, same length of time. The output came out at 124 degrees. The surface underneath the hose matters as much as the hose itself. Step 3. Wait. The exact time depends on your latitude, the time of year, and the cloud cover. In summer, in most of the United States, 3 to 4 hours of direct afternoon sun will bring the water inside the hose up to between 100 and 140 degrees. The longer it sits, the hotter it gets, up to a peak around 2 in the afternoon. After that, even though the air may still be hot, the sun angle starts dropping and the water temperature plateaus. Now let me ask you something. How much have you spent on water heating in the last 10 years? Look at the breakdown on your utility bill if you can find it. Hot water is typically the second largest energy expense in an American home, right after heating and cooling. For most households, it runs between $300 and $600 a year. Over a decade, that is $3,000 to $6,000. For warmth in your water that the sun is providing for free in your own backyard for half the year. Step 4. Use the water. Open the valve at the output end and let the hot water flow. The first gallon or two will be the hottest because it has been sitting at the warmest part of the coil. As you drain the hose, cool water from the faucet replaces it, and within a minute or two, the output drops back to whatever temperature your tap water normally is. So this is not an unlimited supply. It is the volume of water inside the hose that is hot. A 100-foot coil of 3/4-inch polyethylene hose holds about 3.5 gallons. That is enough for a quick outdoor shower, or to fill a wash basin for dishes, or to give the dog a warm bath. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. The plumbing and utility industries have built a 70-year empire on convincing you that simple things are complicated, and every video on this channel takes a brick out of that wall. Now let me show you the result. For longer hot water needs, you simply use multiple coils of hose, or a longer single coil, or you cycle the same hose by refilling it and letting it heat back up. A second coil of 200 feet, costing another $20, doubles your hot water capacity. Some off-grid setups run several hundred feet of black hose in a serpentine pattern on the roof of a shed or cabin and produce enough hot water for a full household shower. The principle scales as much as you want it to, for the cost of more hose. I have been running my single 100-foot setup for 3 summers now. I keep it on the south side of my patio from late May through early September. During those 4 months, I get reliable hot water roughly 5 days out of 7, dropping to maybe 2 days out of 7 during cloudy weeks. My summer electric bill is consistently about $35 lower than it was before I started using the hose. Over 3 summers, that is roughly $300 saved on a system that cost me $12.40 to set up. The hose itself shows almost no wear after 3 years of summer use, and it should last another decade easily. A guy I know named Russ, a retired Navy electrician who lives in a small house in central Arizona, has been using a much bigger version of this setup for over a decade. Russ ran 250 feet of black polyethylene hose along the south wall of his garage roof, connected it to his outdoor shower stall, and uses it every single day from April through October. He told me he has not turned on his electric water heater for outdoor showers in 11 years. His electric bill in summer is about half what his neighbors pay because his hot water needs from May through September are largely covered by the hose. He is in Arizona, where summer sun is reliable, so his results are at the high end of what is realistic. But he proved the principle works at scale with nothing more than off-the-shelf irrigation hose and a south-facing roof. Now, before you set this up, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you, because the third mistake on this list is a health hazard that most DIY tutorials skip. Mistake number 1: using the wrong hose. Clear vinyl hose, green garden hose, white plastic hose, none of them work. The black color is what absorbs the solar radiation and converts it to heat. A clear or light-colored hose lets most of the sunlight pass through and never gets hot. Black polyethylene irrigation hose. That is the only hose for this job. Mistake number 2: coiling the hose in the shade or on grass. The hose needs full direct sunlight on every section, and it needs a heat-absorbing surface underneath it. Concrete, dark stone, asphalt, or a dark wood deck all work. Grass and bare soil cool the hose from below and cut your output temperature by 20 or 30 degrees. Mistake number 3. This is the health hazard. Letting water sit stagnant in the warm hose for days at a time creates ideal conditions for Legionella bacteria to grow. Legionella thrives in warm, stagnant water between 77 and 108 degrees Fahrenheit, which is exactly the temperature range of a sun-warmed hose that has not been used. If you are going to use this system, do not let water sit unused in the hose for more than 2 days. Either drain it after each use and refill when you need it, or make sure you are flushing the entire volume of the hose at least every couple of days. For showers and any use where the water touches your face or you might inhale the spray, the safest practice is to drain the hose completely after each use. This is not theoretical. Legionella outbreaks from contaminated warm water systems happen every year. A few seconds of draining protects you from a real problem. Mistake number 4. Trying to use this method in winter. In cold climates, from November through March, the sun angle is too low and the air temperature is too cold for a black hose to heat water effectively. In December in the northern half of the country, even on a sunny day, you might get the water to 50 degrees, which is barely warmer than your tap. This is a summer system. In southern states with warm winters, it can work most of the year. In northern states, it is a May to September solution. Set your expectations accordingly. And mistake number 5. Believing that this can fully replace your indoor water heater. It cannot. Not for a typical family using indoor showers, dishwashers, and laundry. The volume of hot water this produces is real but limited. What it can do is dramatically reduce your hot water demand in summer for outdoor uses, garden tasks, occasional showers, and any application where you do not need 50 gallons of hot water on demand. If you pair this with smart usage habits, like running the dishwasher and laundry on cooler cycles in summer and using the hose for outdoor needs, you can cut your summer water heating bill by 30 to 50%. That is real money. But it is not free hot water forever for every gallon you use, and anyone who tells you that is selling you a fantasy. So let me put this in real numbers. The average American household spends between $400 and $700 per year on water heating. Roughly 40% of that occurs during the summer months when hot water demand is actually lower, but the heater is still running constantly. That summer portion is between $160 and $280. A black hose system, used consistently from May through September for outdoor needs, can offset roughly 30 to 50% of that summer water heating cost. Over 10 years, that is between $500 and $1,500 saved on a system that costs $12 to build. That is real money for a hose and an afternoon of setup. And it is real freedom from the assumption that hot water has to come from a tank with a meter on it. Now you know how to get free hot water from sunlight using a hose that costs less than lunch. No tankless installation, no contractors, no monthly bill for energy that should be free. Next week, I'm going to show you a $4 method that turns any window into a passive air conditioner using a principle the HVAC industry has been ignoring for 60 years. Hit subscribe so you do not miss it. And the video on screen right now shows another method the home utilities industry has been quietly burying. Click it.